So as you can see, we are now on quadratic trig equations level 2, and we got this crazy looking thing that's happening on the bottom. So let's make it a little less crazy by replacing all the tangents with x. So I'm just going to write let x equal tangent. And I'm going to, I guess I'll write on this side. Okay, so we have negative 8 tangent squared, so negative 8x squared, minus 4 tangent theta, so minus 4x, minus 11 equals 6 tangent theta, so 6x, minus 8. So I just converted everything from tangent to x. Any questions for that part? Okay. As always, feel free to interrupt me if I am going too fast. Okay, so let's bring everything to one side so that we can have it equal to 0, because we like it when things are equal to 0. So let's bring it over to the left side. Why not? So I'm going to minus 6x minus 6x. We got negative 8x squared minus 10x minus 11 equals negative 8. Still not equal to 0, so I need to add 8 to both sides. So we get negative 8x squared minus 10x. That simplifies to minus 3 equals 0. Okay. Any questions up till here? Okay, so from here we could totally try to factor this, but if you don't want to, there's also that wonderful equation called the quadratic equation. Remember this little thing? If it's just gonna let me write, there we go. There's a song for it too, although I don't know the song, but I do know the equation. So if you don't know the equation, write it down so that you can have it always. And then we can always just plug any quadratic situation into this equation and it will give us our x values. All you have to do is just make sure it's equal to 0, just like we did over here. Equal to 0, and then it's ready to be plugged in to that wonderful long equation on the top. Okay. So hopefully that was enough time to write down the equation. I'm going to start labeling in our situation. What is our A? What is our B? What is our C? So the A value is what happens in the very front with x squared. And we have A is equal to negative 8. Negative because it's literally a negative 8x squared. So then our B value is going to be what happens in front of the x term. So we have a minus 10. So our B is a negative 10. Don't forget the negative there because it is a minus 10x. So it must be a negative 10. And then last but not least, our C value is the number on its own. So C is equal to negative 3. Negative because it was a minus 3. So C must be negative 3. And then we're going to plug everything into the top equation. All right. You guys ready to plug it in? I take the silence as a yes. So I'm going to go plug it in. I'm going to zoom out so I have more space. But like, man, we're going to run out of some space today. With tangents, we always run out of space. They really gave us one heck of a first problem. So we have x equals negative b, so negative 10, plus or minus the square root of, am I going to have space? B squared, negative 10 squared, minus 4 times a, negative 8, times c, negative 3. All over 2a, so 2 times negative 8. Okay. Any questions on that part? Okay, so we're gonna just churn out the answer from this equation. Let's do that. X equals, so a negative 10 will be a positive 10. Then we have plus or minus the square root of negative 10 squared is 100 minus 4 times negative 8 times negative 3. So I'm going to keep the minus there, and I'm going to do positive 4 times negative 8 times negative 3. What would that be? So 4 times negative 8 times negative 3, that's going to be 96. All over 2 times negative 8 is negative 16. Then we're going to continue churning out this answer. 100 minus 96 is 4. Look at that. It's a nice perfect square. So that means we could have FOILed it, but quadratic formula works for every single quadratic equation. So it's good to remind you guys that this exists and you can use it anytime. Okay, so then we have 10 plus or minus the square root of 4 is 2 over negative 16. So we're going to have two x answers. We're going to have x be the 10 plus 2 over negative 16. And we're also going to have x equals 10 minus 2 over negative 16 because it was a plus or minus. So we had to do both of those. Any questions up till here before we continue? Okay. If I'm going too fast, remember, please just interrupt me. And so we can, answer those questions. So simplifying this one, x is equal to 10 plus 2 is 12 over negative 16. This one is 10 minus 2, that's 8 over negative 16. We're going to simplify these. On this one, we have 12 over negative 16. We can simplify this by dividing the top and bottom by 4. So we divide the top by 4, we get 3. Divide the bottom by 4, we get negative 4. And then this one, we can divide the top and bottom by 8, so we can get negative 1/2. So we have two x values here. Any questions up till here? Okay. So now we're gonna have to go use the calculator. I'm gonna take a picture of this of my screen so I don't forget that our x is 3 over negative 4 and negative 1/2. Oh wait, before we go type in on the calculator, what is x even? X is tangent. So that's what we're going to have to replace the x with. So we have tangent is equal to negative 3 over 4. Same thing as 3 over negative 4. And then we also have tangent is equal to negative 1/2. Okay, so that's what we're going to be solving on our calculator. The tangent is negative 3/4 and tangent is negative 1/2. Let's go type it in. Press the calculator button until the calculator comes up. Oops. Delete your old stuff. There we go. So we're going to go to functions and then the inverse tangent. And the first one that we were going to type in was, I can't even remember it right now. Negative 3/4. Negative 3 over 4. And you're like, oh, okay, so it gives me this answer. Let's see, should I screenshot it or write it down now? Oh, okay, I can I can actually type more than one equation if I press enter. So I'm going to also type the other one, which is tangent of theta is equal to -1/2. So inverse tangent, and then over here, oops, where are my numbers? Okay, -1/2. Okay, so I've typed both of those in. I'm going to screenshot them. And then I'm going to draw my unit circle so that I can, manipulate the numbers to get all the answers we want. Any questions on typing it in, though? I forgot to ask that. Okay. So from here, we're just going to, let me zoom in over here so I have space to draw a circle. Here's my circle. I'm going to draw those in. So -36 would be like, I don't know, somewhere like there. Let's say -36.9, just rounding it. And then this one, -26.9. Okay, so we got those 2 points. I'm not drawing them to scale. I'm just kind of putting them in the quadrant that they belong in. So I'm placing those on the unit circle. And then I want to show you guys on the instructions. They want our angles to be between 0 and 360. So the angles they gave us here, which are negative angles, they're not between 0 and 360. So we need to make them between 0 and 360. So in order to fix this to be between 0 and 360, all you have to do is add 360 to each of them. So the -26.9, where can I write this? Okay, -26.9, we can just do plus 360. Because if you go around the circle one entire rotation, which is 360 degrees, you end up at the exact same spot. So this gives me 333.1. So this answer is the same thing as 333.1. Just going to highlight that. So instead of putting in -26.9, I'm going to put in 333.1. So this is like the correct answer. Then on the other one, we have -36.9. So once again, we're going to take that. We're going to add 360 to it. So on the calculator, we got 360 and then -36.9. Got 323.1. So those are equivalent. And so instead of writing the -36.9, you want to write the 323.1. So here's 2 answers. And then when you have a tangent and cotangent, you usually get like a pair of answers. You're always going to get a pair of answers. I shouldn't say usually. So the other answer that you would get is directly across from it. So like if you were to draw a straight line across, you would have, sorry, that is not straight at all. You would have 2 other answers over here, and we need to solve for those. And so to solve for these answers, you're going to take these yellow ones and subtract 180. So I'll do it in a different color. Let's do this blue one first. So to get this blue dot, I'm just going to take 323.1 and I'm just going to minus 180. Because if it's directly across from it, you can just subtract 180 degrees. Directly across is like halfway across the circle, and halfway across the circle is 180 degrees. So we can do 323.1 minus 180, and we get 143.1. So that's another answer. And then last but not least, oops, I didn't mean to highlight that one. There you go. Last but not least, to get this green dot answer, we're going to take the 333.1 minus 180. And then I get 153.1. So that would be the final answer. Okay, so I'm going to pause the video because I know tangents are probably people's least favorites. So I'll give you guys a chance to ask. Oops, I forgot to like look at the answers on my picture. I took a picture of it. Okay. Now let's enter these in. 143.1, 153.1, 323.1, 333.1. So many. Oops, the answer is not correct. Try to find your mistake. You have one attempt remaining. That's just great. We spent so much time on that one. All right, let's take a look at what happened. It's always these problems, isn't it, that we like do a lot of work on, and then it ends up being wrong. Okay, so we have negative 8x squared minus 4 tangent x minus 11 is equal to 6x minus 8. We subtracted 6x on both sides. We got that. We added 8. Plugged it in. Negative 3 over 4. Negative 1/2. Okay. I think for the sake of time, what I should do is just get the problem wrong a second time so that we can look at delta math solution, because class is going to be over in 8 minutes. So let's go ahead and get this wrong again. And then take a look at the solution. Okay, so they're replacing everything with u instead of with x. Same thing though. Then they factored it. They still got the negative 3/4 and the negative 1/2. Then over here, it looks like, did I read it off the calculator wrong? Because if you look at the answers, they say 153.4 and 333.4. I had it at 0.1. Let's see. Oh, okay. So the mistake, and I'm so sorry for this, the mistake was over here. I can't point. Edit. How do you mark up? Mark up. Okay, so the mistake happened right here where I rounded, or I tried to round this, and instead of putting negative 26.6, I wrote negative 26.9, and then that's where the mistake happened, and I apologize. Oh goodness. Okay, so what I can do for this video is I can take off the penalty for this section. Would that help for the homework? Because I did make a mistake, and I know this was a really long recording and everything. I'm going to end the recording here.